Shadows of a Forgotten World. The Xorelian archive master Klaxon peered through his 6 compound eyes at the ancient crystal tablet, its surface still glowing with a faint blue luminescence despite being over 3 millennia old. His appendages trembled slightly as he translated the final symbols, words of warning inscribed by the long-vanished precursors. When the children of the broken planet return, they will not come with pleas but with thunder. They were forged in adversity, tempered by betrayal. The galaxy that abandoned them will know their strength. Klaxon's voice echoed through the vast, empty chamber of the celestial archives on Xorelia Prime. No other scholars remained at this late hour, none to witness his growing unease as the translation completed. The warnings about humans had always been dismissed as superstitious nonsense. Every educated being in the unified Galactic Consortium knew the truth. Humans were extinct, their homeworld Terra reduced to radioactive ruins during the Purification War 4 centuries ago. The few survivors had been scattered, hunted, and finally erased from the galaxy. A tragic but necessary action, according to the official histories. Yet here was another ancient text speaking not of humanity's fall, but of their inevitable return. Klaxon would have dismissed it like the others, filed it away in the section for mythological curiosities, except for the news that had reached Xorelia 3 cycles ago. An entire Dravaki mining outpost in the Veil Nebula had gone silent. When investigation teams arrived, they found the facility intact, but empty. No bodies, no signs of violence, just absence. And on the central command console, a single symbol had been burned into the interface, a phoenix rising from a broken planet. An old human symbol. As Klaxon carefully placed the crystal tablet into its preservation field, the archive's communication array chimed. Master Archivist, came the urgent voice of First Commander Zix of the Consortium Defense Fleet. Another incident. The Hegemony trade station at Junction 7 has gone dark. All 40,000 souls. No distress call. Klaxon's upper membranes fluttered in distress. Junction 7 is nowhere near the Veil. How can they be moving so quickly? They're not just moving quickly, Archivist. They're everywhere at once. Across the vast emptiness of space, hidden in the shadow of a dead moon orbiting what was once called Pluto, the vessel Nemesis Rising drifted in silence. Its obsidian hull absorbed all light, rendering it nearly invisible against the void. Inside the command center, illuminated only by the soft glow of holographic displays, stood Commander Sarah Vega. At 43 years old, Vega had never seen Earth except in historical recordings preserved by the Resistance. Born in the hidden colonies of the Kuiper Belt, she had been raised on stories of humanity's greatness and their subsequent betrayal. Her dark hair was streaked with silver, her face bearing the subtle enhancements of 4th-generation adaptives. Microscopic nanites that strengthened bone, accelerated healing, and extended human lifespans far beyond what the Consortium believed possible. Strike Team Phantom has neutralized Junction 7, reported her second-in-command, Major Riven. All non-combatants were evacuated to stasis holds as planned. No casualties on either side. Vega nodded, her eyes never leaving the strategic display, showing the positions of the hundreds of human vessels now deployed throughout the galaxy. Ships that had been built in secret over centuries, using technology the humans had developed in isolation. And the message, she asked. Left exactly as you specified, Commander. The phoenix symbol and the words, "Remember the purification," burned into the station's central core. Vega allowed herself a small smile. The Consortium races believed they had committed genocide against a primitive species barely capable of interstellar travel. They had no idea how much humanity had advanced before the betrayal, how much knowledge had been preserved and expanded upon during their exile. The Dravik mining outpost and Junction 7 were symbolic targets, she said, addressing the command crew. Phase 1 is complete. We've announced our presence. Now for Phase 2. The holographic display shifted to highlight 3 locations across the galaxy. The archives at Xorelia Prime, the Consortium High Command on Dravik Major, and the monument of victory on Hegemony Throne World. Vega continued. 3 simultaneous strikes. Not to destroy, but to reveal. Major Riven studied the targets with concern. These are heavily fortified locations, Commander. The element of surprise will be diminished after our first 2 strikes. We don't need surprise anymore, Major. We need witnesses. Across the command center, Lieutenant Commander Elias Reyes interfaced directly with the ship's systems through his neural implants, his eyes glowing with the same blue light as the ship's core. "Commander," he called out, his voice resonating with an unusual harmonic quality, the result of his enhanced vocal cords. "We're detecting unusual communication traffic from the Corellian archives. Someone there has accessed records about Earth." Vega crossed to his station. "Show me." The display shifted to reveal an elderly Corellian archivist examining what appeared to be a crystal tablet. Audio translation software converted the alien's chittering speech into English. "They found another prophecy," Vega observed. "Interesting timing." "Should we adjust our schedule?" asked Riven. Vega considered for a moment. "No, let them piece it together. Fear of the unknown will work in our favor." She turned to address the entire command crew. "For 400 years, they believed us extinct. They erased our history, claimed our colonies, and told themselves comforting lies to justify genocide. Now they'll learn what humans do best: survive, adapt, and overcome." The command center hummed with silent agreement. None of them had personally experienced the purification, but all carried the genetic memory implants of their ancestors who had. They knew what had been done to Earth. They remembered. "Prepare the Shadow Fleet for Phase 2, Vega ordered, "and send a message to all human cells across the galaxy. The time for hiding is over." On the consortium capital world of Dravik Major, High Chancellor Orlox addressed the emergency session of the Galactic Security Council. Representatives from the 12 dominant species filled the vast chamber, their faces displaying various expressions of concern, disbelief, or outright fear. "These incidents are clearly the work of pirates or separatists," Orlox insisted, his scaled skin flushing blue with conviction. "The suggestion that they are connected to extinct species is absurd and inflammatory." The Hegemony Ambassador, a translucent being contained within a hovering environmental sphere, pulsed with disagreement. "The symbol left at both locations is unmistakable, Chancellor. It is the human phoenix. Our cultural databases are quite clear." "Impossible," growled General Krax of the Dravaki Military Command. "The human species was fully neutralized during the purification. Our ancestors made certain of it." From the shadows at the edge of the chamber stepped a figure most of the Council had never seen in person, the Archivist Prime of the Consortium, one of the few beings with access to the true historical records. "I fear we have been deceived by our own historical revisionism," the Archivist said, her voice thin but commanding attention. "I have spent the last cycle reviewing the classified records of the Purification War. There were anomalies in the final accounting. Several advanced human research vessels disappeared before they could be neutralized. Certain human outposts in the outer reaches of their territory were found empty when our forces arrived." The chamber erupted in outraged denials and fearful questions. Orlox pounded his ceremonial staff for order. "Even if some small number of humans survived, they could not have rebuilt to any meaningful capacity," the Chancellor insisted. "They were a primitive species, barely capable of rudimentary space travel. Their weapons were chemical projectiles and simple energy beams." The massive view screens surrounding the chamber suddenly flickered, then went dark. The security systems wailed briefly before falling silent. When the screens reactivated, they displayed a single image: a human woman with silver-streaked dark hair, her eyes gleaming with an unnatural blue light. "Greetings, Galactic Security Council," she said, her voice translated perfectly into each species' native language. "I am Commander Sarah Vega of the Earth Reclamation Fleet. You believe humans to be extinct. You believe us to be primitive. You are wrong on both counts. The image pulled back to reveal that she stood on the command deck of a vessel that made even the hardened General Krax gasp in recognition. The design was unmistakably advanced, far beyond anything the consortium currently possessed. 400 years ago, your ancestors united to commit genocide against my species, Vega continued. You called it the purification. You told yourselves we were dangerous, unpredictable, a threat to galactic stability. Perhaps you were right. The view screen split to show footage from the Dravaki mining outpost and Junction 7. Security recordings showing humans moving with impossible speed, using technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. But you made one critical error, Vega said. You left survivors. And if there's one thing humans excel at, it's turning survival into victory. The council chamber had fallen completely silent. We could have struck without warning. We could have enacted the same genocide upon you that you attempted on us. But that is not our way. This is not revenge. This is reclamation. Humanity is returning to the galactic stage, and you will acknowledge our right to exist. General Krax found his voice. Is that a threat, human? Vega smiled. No, General. It's a prophecy, one your ancestors should have heeded. You have 3 galactic cycles to prepare for formal negotiations. In the meantime, I suggest you revise your histories to include the truth. The children of Earth have returned, and we bring not pleas, but thunder. The transmission cut off, leaving the council in stunned silence. Before anyone could speak, the emergency alerts began flooding in from across consortium space. The phase of observation was over. The shadows of a forgotten world had emerged into the light, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The reckoning dawned. 3 galactic cycles had passed since Commander Vega's broadcast. Throughout consortium space, chaos reigned. Not from human attacks. Those had ceased after the initial demonstrations of power, but from the unraveling of 4 centuries of carefully constructed lies. On 1,000 worlds, citizens demanded the truth about the purification. Historical archives that had been sealed for generations were being opened. The phoenix symbol appeared in graffiti across the affluent sectors of capital worlds. Meanwhile, the consortium's military forces scrambled to fortify strategic positions, unsure where the humans might strike next. They needn't have bothered. The humans weren't interested in military targets anymore. They had moved to the next phase of their plan. In the palatial council chambers of the hegemony throne world, the most powerful beings in the galaxy gathered in unprecedented numbers. The Celestial Confluence, a meeting that typically occurred once per century, had been called 4 decades early. High Chancellor Orlox, his scales now faded with stress, addressed the assembled dignitaries. The human delegation will arrive shortly. Before they do, we must establish our unified position. What position is there to establish? Growled General Krax. We must crush this human resurgence before they gain further advantage. Their ships have been detected in 57 systems already. The Archivist Prime shook her head. You still fail to understand the situation, General. Their ships have been in those systems for decades, perhaps centuries. They are only now allowing us to detect them. Impossible. Krax slammed his armored fist onto the table. Our detection systems are the most advanced in the galaxy. Are they? The voice came from behind the assembled leaders. Standing in the entrance to the chamber was a human male, tall and lean, with skin the color of polished bronze and eyes that gleamed with the same unnatural blue as Commander Vega's. Lieutenant Commander Elias Reyes. He introduced himself as he strode confidently into the chamber, seemingly unconcerned that he was surrounded by the leadership of a government that had once ordered the extinction of his entire species. Chief of Intelligence for the Earth Reclamation Fleet. Consortium security personnel moved to intercept him, but their weapons suddenly powered down, the energy crystals within dimming to darkness. Your detection systems, Rice continued as if nothing had happened, were designed using principles derived from technology you scavenged from Earth's colonies after the purification. Technology we deliberately left behind. He reached the center of the chamber and activated a small device. A holographic display appeared, showing the galaxy in miniature, with thousands of points of light scattered throughout. Human observation posts, he explained, established over the last 4 centuries. We've watched you, studied you, understood you, while you convinced yourselves we were extinct. The accusations and denials might have continued indefinitely if not for the arrival of the main human delegation. The massive doors to the chamber swung open, and Commander Sarah Vega entered, flanked by 12 humans of various appearances. Each wore the same dark uniform with the Phoenix insignia, but their enhancements were visibly different. Some had subtle mechanical augmentations, others displayed the characteristic glow of neural interface implants, and a few appeared completely ordinary until one noticed their 2 perfect movements. The specialized strike teams whispered an aid to Chancellor Orlox, the ones from the Junction 7 recordings. Vega approached the central podium, her posture straight, her expression resolute. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Consortium, I come before you not seeking war, though we are prepared for it. I come seeking acknowledgement, restitution, and a new beginning. High Chancellor Orlox rose to meet her. Commander Vega, your demonstrations have certainly captured our attention. However, your accusations regarding the purification are based on events from 4 centuries ago. None here were alive then, nor were you. Must we inherit the conflicts of our ancestors? A cold smile touched Vega's lips. An interesting position, Chancellor, considering your species has maintained blood feuds with the Corellians for over a millennium regarding territorial disputes that predated your written history. The Chancellor's scales flushed purple with embarrassment. But to address your question directly, Vega continued, we do not hold the current generation responsible for initiating the purification. We do, however, hold you responsible for perpetuating the lies that justified it, and for continuing to benefit from the theft of our worlds and technology. With a gesture, she expanded the holographic display initiated by Reyes. The galaxy map zoomed in on what had once been Earth's solar system. Sol system, she said, humanity's birthplace, now designated as Consortium Restricted Zone 17, officially listed as uninhabitable due to radioactive contamination. Yet here, she indicated Jupiter's moons, and here, pointing to the asteroid belt, Consortium mining operations have been active for 3 centuries. Operations using slave labor from conquered worlds. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Many of the representatives genuinely had not known. This is but one example, Vega continued. Throughout what was once human space, your consortium has built its wealth on stolen resources, while maintaining the fiction that humans were primitive savages who needed to be purified for the greater good. The Archivist Prime stepped forward. Commander Vega speaks the truth. I have verified it through the sealed archives. The official history of the purification is a fabrication. General Krax surged to his feet. This is treasonous. The archivist exceeds her authority. The truth is not treason, Vega said quietly, yet her voice carried throughout the chamber. But let me show you something beyond historical records. Let me show you what humanity has become while hiding in the shadows. At her signal, one of her team stepped forward. A young woman with intricate patterns etched into her skin, glowing faintly with a golden light. This is Dr. Aria Chen, our quintessence specialist, Vega explained. What your ancestors feared about humanity was not our technology, but our potential. They recognized something in us that threatened the established order. Dr. Chen, if you would demonstrate. The woman raised her hands, and the air between them began to shimmer. Light coalesced into solid form, a perfect replica of the council chamber and everyone in it, floating as a miniature model above her palms. We call it matter harmonics, Vega explained as the assembly stared in shock. The ability to manipulate matter through resonant frequency, just one of many advancements we've achieved during our exile. The demonstration continued as each member of Vega's team displayed abilities or technological innovations far beyond consortium understanding. instantaneous communication across vast distances, energy manipulation that defied known physics, biological adaptations that allowed humans to survive in environments that would kill other species. Chancellor Orlox watched with growing comprehension and dread. Your species evolved. Not evolution, Vega corrected. Directed advancement. When your ancestors tried to exterminate us, they unintentionally created the perfect conditions for human innovation. Extreme pressure, limited resources, and an existential threat. We did what humans have always done. We adapted. We overcame. The holographic display shifted again, now showing hundreds of locations throughout consortium space where hidden human communities had established themselves, integrated into alien societies under disguised identities. We are already among you, Vega said, not as infiltrators or saboteurs, but as refugees seeking to understand the galaxy that rejected us. Some of your most celebrated artists, scientists, and philosophers of the past century have been humans in disguise, contributing to a society that officially denies our existence. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Several representatives frantically consulted their personal devices, no doubt searching through records of close associates with new suspicion. What do you want? Chancellor Orlox finally asked, his voice subdued. If not revenge, then what? Recognition, restoration, and responsibility, Vega replied firmly. First, the consortium must acknowledge the truth of the purification and revoke all prohibitions on human existence. Second, the original human territories must be returned to our governance. And third, humanity must be granted full membership in the Galactic Consortium, with all associated rights and responsibilities. General Krax laughed bitterly. You demonstrate your power, infiltrate our societies, and then demand equality. Why not simply conquer us if you're so superior? Because conquest is easy, General, Vega answered. Coexistence is the true challenge. We could have destroyed your fleets. We could have sabotaged your worlds. Instead, we revealed ourselves and came to talk. The hegemony ambassador's environmental sphere pulsed with a thoughtful light. Commander Vega, while your demands regarding recognition and restoration may be negotiable, the matter of consortium membership presents unique challenges. Our charter has strict requirements for new members. We are not new members, Vega countered. We are founding members, erased from history. Check your oldest records. Earth was among the 17 original signatories of the pre-consortium accords. Once again, the Archivist Prime confirmed Vega's assertion. It is true. Before the purification, humans were instrumental in establishing the framework that would become the modern consortium. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans were founding members, their claim could not be denied without invalidating the consortium's own legitimacy. Chancellor Orlox conferred briefly with his advisors before addressing Vega again. Your terms will require ratification by the full consortium assembly. That process will take time. You have one standard galactic year, Vega replied. During this time, we will maintain our current posture, visible but non-aggressive. We will also begin the process of revealing ourselves to the general population across consortium space. The truth can no longer be contained. As if to emphasize her point, the massive screens surrounding the chamber activated, showing live feeds from dozens of worlds where humans were publicly removing their disguises, revealing themselves among the populations they had infiltrated. This is not a negotiation, Vega continued. This is notification. The age of human exile is over. The prophecy has been fulfilled. The children of Earth have returned, and we will take our rightful place among the stars. General Krax, seeing the inevitable, asked the question burning in many minds. And if we refuse? Vega turned her gaze directly to him. Then we disappear again. But this time, we take our technology with us. The principles underlying your faster-than-light drives, your communication networks, your power generation systems, all derived from human innovations you scavenged and only partially understood. Without them, the consortium would collapse into isolated pockets of civilization, separated by the true vastness of space. It was not a threat of violence, but something far more devastating: the threat of abandonment. Before any could respond, Vega made a gesture, and her entire delegation began to shimmer with golden light. Consider your history and your future, representatives of the consortium. We will return in one standard year for your answer. In a flash of brilliance, the humans vanished, leaving only the phoenix symbol burning briefly in the air before fading away. The celestial confluence descended into chaos as representatives argued, accused, and panicked. But Chancellor Orlok sat in silence, his gaze fixed on the spot where Commander Vega had stood. In his long political career, he had faced many crises, but none like this. The humans had not just returned. They had transcended, and the galaxy would never be the same. 1 year later to the day, the formal ceremony was broadcast across all consortium worlds. Standing on the newly reconstructed plaza in what had once been called Geneva on Earth, Commander Sarah Vega and Chancellor Orlok signed the Earth Restoration Treaty. The terms were largely as Vega had demanded: full recognition of humanity, restoration of their territories, and reinstatement as founding members of the consortium. But there had been compromises on both sides, and provisions for cultural exchange, technological sharing, and mutual defense. As the treaty was sealed with genetic signatures and quantum encryption, Vega turned to address the trillions watching across the galaxy. Today marks not the end of our journey, but its true beginning. 4 centuries ago, fear drove the galaxy to attempt our extinction. Today, courage allows us to forge a new path together. Humanity does not return seeking dominance, but partnership. We bring with us not just advanced technology and unique abilities, but the one trait that has defined us throughout our history: resilience in the face of adversity. She gestured to the rebuilt cityscape around them, where humans now walked openly alongside representatives from 100 alien species. The ancient prophecies spoke of our return bringing thunder. And indeed, we announced ourselves with demonstrations of power. But thunder passes. What remains after the storm is the opportunity for growth. That is humanity's true gift to the galaxy. Not our science or our strength, but our endless capacity for renewal. As the ceremony concluded, the phoenix symbol appeared once more, projected into the sky above the assembled crowds. But this time, it was joined by the symbols of all major consortium species, arranged in a circle of equals. The galaxy had dismissed ancient prophecies of human strength. Now they would embrace the reality of human wisdom. The shadow of extinction had passed. The reckoning dawn had broken, and humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars.